Good morning, YouTube. Today we're going to talk about the business of running a YouTube channel. Specifically, we're going to talk about sponsors and branding deals.
So are you recording all of the nefarious activities?
If you're new to the channel, my name is Dan and this is my garage. And this channel is about the supercar ownership experience, buying, selling, maintaining, DIY work on them. I sell supercar parts, so go visit my website, normalguysupercar.com, and there you can buy parts for Lamborghinis, Ferraris, McLarens, and Porsches. And I also have other things that may be of interest to you, such as fire extinguishers and batteries for any car. So go check out my website, use the code NGS10, and I'm gonna knock off 10%. So in my recent video, when I was talking about some of the stuff going on with my channel, a lot of you expressed some interest in that. I think there's a lot of confusion and people don't really understand what it's like on the non-YouTube side of running a YouTube channel. So obviously with the YouTube channel, you get paid as a part of the revenue share of advertisements that go on the YouTube channels. The ads that you saw in this video, I get a little bit of money for that. It ends up not being a whole lot of money. So I was saying in my channel, if I make $2,000 a month in ads, I'm doing really well. Right now, I'm in the $1,500 a month range. You're not exactly talking about a whole lot of money considering how much work goes into it, because I'm spending a large amount of time making these videos, editing these videos, and doing everything around it. Yeah, it's not good money. So the other side of that fence of trying to make some money is, of course, sponsorship deals. So pretty much all of your favorite YouTubers have some sort of sponsorship deals or branding deals. They range from everything from trying to show you a product that you want to buy to talking about a particular company or something, or even just having things in the background that are subtle and supposed to kind of influence you. So we're going to talk all about these relationships, at least from what I've experienced so far. This will give you some insights. So at some point when you are a YouTuber, your channel gets to be big enough and eventually a sponsor will want to approach you and say, can you sell this product for me or show this product? Actually, in my case, it started off with them reaching out to me. I didn't think my channel was big enough, and then a few companies said, hey, would you want to show our product on the channel? That was probably when I had a couple thousand subscribers. I'm gonna say maybe 5,000 subscribers, somewhere around there. And it started off with products that are probably worth well under $100, and they basically would say, we'll just give you the product. And at first you're like, great, I'm getting a free product. I'm gonna sell this thing and put it on my channel and review it or whatever. And it's usually that's how it's worded, is I'm gonna review this thing. Pretty much most of the channels, when they say I am reviewing this product, it means they've been given the product or possibly paid to review that product. Now, not all channels, there are some that are totally independent, and that's cool. This is generally how it works. And then as you get bigger, sometimes the products get bigger and get worth more, and eventually what happened for me is I started reaching out to a few of the companies that I felt were a good partnership for what my channel is all about. I made sure that I only was willing to have sponsorships with companies that I believe in or products that I believe in or actually use myself. So a lot of the times I was already using a particular company or product, and so I thought, you know what, I'm already using their stuff, I might as well see if they will be willing to do some sort of partnership. First perfect example of that was Ricambia America. So I had been buying parts from Ricambia America, and if you didn't know, Ricambia America sells parts for Ferrari and Maserati, and so obviously, well, that's kind of aligned with my channel, and it just made sense. So I actually reached out to them, and funny enough, they responded really quickly and said that they were actually already in the process of trying to draft a letter to talk to me about doing a sponsorship. So we were both thinking about the same thing. They were aware of me, and it just made sense, and it was a perfect relationship, and they are still one of my biggest sponsors. My relationship with them has pretty much been they will either reduce the cost of parts or give me parts, and in turn I obviously talk about their website and getting you guys to go check them out, and of course, telling you to use the code NGS10, which knocks off 10% if you spend at least $100. That ended up being one of my first really big deals. I actually reached out to Blackview because I had already bought a few of their cameras and loved them so much that I thought, it just makes sense to reach out to them and see if they were willing to work with me, and they've been really easy to deal with. Which actually brings up another interesting point. Sometimes these relationships are really tricky, and other times it's just magic and it just flows like water. So I've had companies that I've had to work with where it takes lots of emails and big contracts and all sorts of stuff and back and forth, and it takes months to hammer out a deal. And then I've had other ones where I literally send an email and they say, great, what do you need? It just... So once you start getting big enough, the deals start to get more lucrative, and then eventually you'll get to your first cash compensation deals. The first one of those for me was Shell. I actually did not solicit Shell, even though I was already using Shell fuel. An employee who worked for USA Today stumbled upon my YouTube channel reached out to me and then did an article about me and published it in USA Today. A local journalist here in the Austin area reached out to me and said, hey, saw your USA Today article. We want to do an article about you as well. And so they did. And then it turns out that there is a company that works with Shell to manage their social media relationships. Some of their employees are based here in Austin. They saw that local article, noted that there was an Austin YouTuber who was in the car space. They reached out to me and sent me an email. And let me tell you, when you get a random email from Shell or a big company like that, and it basically says, we want to see about working with you, is that real? Is this trying to scam me? So at first I was very skeptical. At that point in time, your channel's be big enough that you do get people doing weird stuff, scam or trick you and things. So that happens regularly. So you're always a bit like, is this real? Okay, I'll hear it out. After quite a long process, we came to an agreement, and that agreement, I can get some oil and gas. They can't really give me parts, and because I don't manufacture parts. So it ended up being a deal where they're giving me some gas cards, but then also paying me in compensations. Those sorts of contracts are the ones that are really fascinating, because obviously when you deal with a bigger company as opposed to a smaller company, you get a lot more legal issues involved, and you have big contracts, and they have lawyers and reviewing things and all that sort of stuff, versus when I deal with some of these smaller companies, it's literally just an email back and forth. It's like, hey, let's do this. Sure, great, let's do that, done. Another example of a very simple, easy process that I actually didn't solicit was Authentic Details. So Authentic Details and I have done a lot of work together. What happened with that one is Brad actually reached out to me and said, hey, I wanted to see if maybe we could meet up and discuss the possibility of doing a video together, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing about detailers is there's a lot of them, right? There are so many detailing places, there are so many places that do that sort of work that it's really hard to know who's good and who's not. My response to him was, how do I really know that you guys are good? You're someone I should trust. And basically said, why don't we do a video where we talk exactly about that? How to tell the difference between good and bad. That's a really good idea. In fact, he said, I don't even care if you promote my company. I just want to share what to look for to make sure that you're getting good service when you go to a detailer. And so that really hit me hard, that, hey, this guy is really just trying to share what's important and not necessarily focus on the business side of it. Obviously, even though it would help his business. We met up, and of course, Brad and I have now been doing work for well over a year. He's done multiple cars of mine, tons of work. Now he's literally the only person I trust to touch my car when it comes to detailing. So that deal is a totally different deal, because again, smaller company, we can sit there and discuss things. So my relationship with Brad is tight enough where I can go over to his shop and we can discuss it and figure out, how do we work this out to make sure that it is a mutually beneficial relationship. And that is the biggest key thing that you as a YouTuber have to figure out and be able to clearly communicate to a potential sponsor or partner, is how you will provide them value. Companies obviously don't want to just give you a bunch of money or parts or whatever and then not get any return on it. You as a YouTuber have to really find, where is that value and how do I provide that value to these companies? So in my case, I've figured out, based on research of my demographics and talking to people and getting feedback from people and actually having email conversations with my viewers, and my demographics skew towards a different audience than a lot of YouTube car channels. My demographics are much older than is typical with a YouTube channel. So a lot of these YouTube channels that run around and do crazy crap and all that stuff, they tend to have younger audiences who are more into that sort of stuff. My channel being a lot of DIY content, it's maybe a bit more adult focused and less drama. My demographics skew a bit older, pretty much don't have hardly any viewers under the age of 25, or it's very little, and my 25 to 55 is a extremely strong demographic. Obviously it's almost entirely dudes. I mean, it's like 98% male. Go figure. Based on that, plus a lot of the feedback I've actually gotten from viewers, I've been able to conclude that my viewers are very frequently actual Ferrari owners, or prospective Ferrari owners, or owners of sports cars, certainly enthusiasts of sports cars. And so these people, my viewers, you guys, tend to be people who legitimately are interested in parts for these cars, legitimately want services done on these cars, and are willing to spend money on these sorts of things. And so your interests are aligned with my interests. Those are the things that I want to do. I want to spend money on these cars, and that I want to spend a bunch of money, but I want to buy parts for these cars because I want to work on them and things like that. It is a natural alignment of my interests with your interests. So therefore, I can provide that to companies and say, look, the things that my audience wants are the things that I want, which is exactly what this channel is about. I have intentionally not diluted my own brand by avoiding companies that don't have an alignment with my interests. So I'm not talking random products that you guys don't care about. You go on some of these channels and they're selling weird stuff. Like, you're on a car channel and they're like, check out my wallet. And you're like, what? Where'd that come from? Like, who cares about a wallet? I'm here to see a car. Your layers removed from the actual thing that is of interest. Versus Ricambi America, it's pretty clear. We're working on Ferraris. Ricambi sells parts for Ferraris. There you go. Done. There's the relationship. Same thing with Shell Gas. You're driving a Ferrari. You need to put fuel in it. You probably want to put the best fuel you can in it. Therefore, you're interested in buying Shell Gas. Simple. I want a good PPF on my car. Okay, Brad installs really good PPFs on the car and he does an amazing job. There you go. Those things make it really easy to provide value for these companies, and they legitimately do, and that's the part that's really cool. Because I have a close relationship with a lot of the companies I work with, I can actually see, and they provide me data and say, oh, look at these are the sales that I'm actually getting. So it all works out and we all get to benefit from it. So it's very mutually beneficial, and that's where they keep coming back and saying, this worked really well, let's do more. So the companies that it doesn't work, then obviously they're not going to want to do more. So you need to make sure that you provide that value, otherwise it's going to be a poor relationship and they're not going to be interested. Okay, so let's talk about the value of some of these sponsorships. And obviously I can't give you exact numbers because, well, I don't feel comfortable stating some of the exact numbers because I don't think my sponsors would necessarily want me to disclose that information. What I can tell you is that, so at this point in time, my channel is a little bit below 60,000 subscribers. We're at the 57, 58,000, somewhere around there. My target is always $2,000 a video for a full-on sponsorship video. I'm talking where the entire point of the video is to be about whatever it is that that sponsor has. Now, that's not necessarily when I have a video where it's just a small segment. A full-on video where it's a full 10 to 15 minute video just doing something about that part or that thing should be worth about $2,000 to me. Whether it's in-kind parts or actual payment, I'm targeting $2,000. Now, obviously I don't always get $2,000, but that's the target. Usually is pretty close to that. Now, if I do a video where I don't focus entirely on that thing for the entire duration of the video, maybe it's only a part of the video, then I'm more in the kind of $1,000-ish per video range. Unless it's like a product that I just really want, then maybe you could get down to like $500. And of course, usually that also entails doing some Instagram posts, posting on Facebook, and potentially just kind of being like a brand ambassador. So what happens is, inevitably, when I put one of these sponsors' things or whatever on my channel, I now have to discuss and talk about that thing with people who are asking questions or soliciting feedback or whatever about that. So you have to not just show the product, you have to actually understand the product and be able to talk competently about it, because you're going to have discussions about it. So for example, when people question me about Shell fuels, I need to understand why I believe Shell fuels are better, because people always ask, is it better? Is Authentic Details really that much better? And I'm like, yes. Well, I have to be able to explain why and show why. So those things are really important. I've personally demonstrated the Element fire extinguishers of why the Element fire extinguisher is good. Those sorts of things you got to be ready to do. That's the part that I think is missing from a lot of these sponsorship deals on a lot of channels, is that they just want the money. Like, the YouTube channel is just looking at the money. They don't really care about the product. And I think it's especially true when you got a product that is not aligned with what the channel is about. Hey, buy this cell phone. It's pretty sweet. Do it, yeah. You want a cell phone. Oh, a great example. I literally had a company solicit me to sell cell phone cases. No, you guys don't want me to sell cell phone cases. You don't care what I think about a cell phone case. That's not what hey, I've got a Ferrari, therefore you should listen to me when I talk about a cell phone case. No, it like totally distant worlds apart. Doesn't matter. A lot of these YouTubers will do that. They will hawk crap that has nothing to do with their channel, and I just hate that. I feel like the company selling the product is purely looking at how big their channel is and not how effective it is in actually selling stuff. That's kind of where it's at. Somewhere between $500 and $2,000 per video is my current going rate. And that includes obviously some other ancillary stuff like Instagram posts, Facebook posts, and just discussing the product or thing in general. Can it be more than that? Yeah, there's been some deals that have worked out to be a little bit more than that. There's been deals that have worked out to be less than that. I don't get sponsorship deals as often as I do affiliate relationship kind of stuff because sponsorship deals are harder to arrange. It takes more effort. It really takes making sure that the alignment is right. So those are kind of like the sponsorship / branding deals. And of course, then there's also affiliate relationships. That's another way to make money on your YouTube channel, but I'm gonna talk about that in another video because that's a whole bag of, that's a big topic. It's very complex. We will discuss that in another video if that is something of interest to you guys. So hopefully you found that helpful and insightful of kind of some of the business side of what I'm dealing with on the YouTube channel. And as you can imagine, these sorts of things take up a lot of time. Building out these sponsorships and branding deals are very time consuming. Just negotiating the contract of some of them can take a huge amount of time. And then of course, thinking up the right way to do a video where it's not just like blatantly a sponsored video. I want to make sure that my videos are real as possible because that's important to me. It's important that I am genuinely interested in the products that I'm selling on the channel, that I'm not just pushing some crap. I want to make sure it is stuff that you guys actually want to buy or use or whatever. Unless I can make those things all align, it just looks fake and it's not good because that's not what this channel is about. I'm trying to keep this channel as real as possible and not turn it into some thing where I'm hawking crap at you, slinging stuff. Just talking about this stuff gets me all like, woo, worked up. If you have any questions about this sort of stuff, or if you want me to talk more about some of the business side of YouTube or my website or any of those sorts of things, feel free to ask in the comments below and I'll see what I can come up with and maybe we can make some cool videos. Before you go away, if you can, please hit like, share, and subscribe. Those things actually do help me out. Genuinely, when you like this video and you share the video, it really, truly does help me out. It makes my channel grow and, well, maybe I can get better deals, better sponsors. More sponsors. All right, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for watching. We have tons of car stuff coming your way. You're gonna wanna stay tuned. It's gonna be sweet.